I've seen a lot of things, black hats and diamond rings, but I'm saying I ain't never seen a girl like you. No, the way you drop it, girl, you take me there.
What's up, everybody? It's Brittany Tequila with Urban Hype. I'm sitting here with a producer. I just got a little tour of the studio and I'm pretty excited. So I'm going to let him do a little introducing. Here he is.
It's Bryce JB Thomas. I'm 23 years old. I'm a producer. Follow me at Twitter, Bryce JB Thomas, Instagram, Bryce JB Thomas. Google me, everything. I'm in here about to do an interview with Urban Hype Live, and we're going to have a good time.
My first question is pretty standard. How did you get into the industry?
Well, I started producing in 6th grade. I was 11 years old, and I started off with a Behringer B1 microphone. At first I was an artist, and as I got older I started to learn the production side of things. I saw a friend of mine named Daniel Williams. He was producing, and I really wanted to learn how he did that. And then after a while producing for a few local artists, I realized that that was my passion. You know, not necessarily making music for myself, but for other people. So after high school, I had a collection of music, and I let a writer named Renegade the Writer, I let him listen to some of my music, and he was the first person who ever had any kind of negative criticism towards my music. And I took that like open-hearted, and then after that it was just, I was on a mission to perfect my craft and be great, and I've been blessed ever since.
You mentioned that you were an artist. What exactly did you do as an artist? Were you an R&B singer or a rapper?
I was actually, and that was actually the first situation that provided me with bread and butter. I made a song in 11th grade called Ice Cream with the help of a friend of mine named Tyron Buddha Bless. And that song actually got played on the radio, and 500,000 MySpace plays, and it got played on Pandora and all these different avenues. So it was the first song that actually got me, you know, payment royalty-wise for my music. And when I realized, hey, if I could get $10.72, which, you know, isn't much money, but the fact that you can make money off of your music,
Right.
It made me realize that if I can do it on a small scale, I can do this on a big scale. And I took that and I just ran with it. And then I fell in love with production, and I ran with it even further.
What out of that really sparked your excitement for production?
It really is not necessarily how I feel about my music, but about how other people feel about my music. I was an R&B singer, and I produced a song called Waterfalls for a friend of mine named Vito the Singer. And people used to text me, tweet me, call me, telling me their experiences with that song in their day-to-day lives. That's what I love about this, or seeing that I can produce a record for another artist that I know, a guy named Kale. He's really, really dope. I produced a song for him, and just seeing the expression on his face to know that I can sit here and create music, and that the next party involved will be in love with the song, and it'll create a situation where we're both not only making money, but making profit, moving in a positive direction. Like that's what this is about. It is about affecting people's lives, doing what you love so you can make money and live comfortably for the rest of our lives doing something you love. That's what makes it a career and not a job.
I totally agree. So out of that, what is your favorite aspect of producing? I know that when I was in college, the co-producer and I went to college together, and one of his roommates was a producer, still is. And I watched him put together a beat. I watched him do each little step that it takes, like doing the beat and then adding the melody and all that. What is your favorite part of the process, I guess?
My favorite part of being a producer is the fact that it's your own mold. The fact that you can shape what type of producer you want to be, And the only way someone can impact that is if you allow them to. The reason I love my production is because I'm a musician first, and through my production I've branded myself in such a way that I can continue to be melodic and play the keys. That's what I love about production rather than being an artist. With an artist, it's a brand per se. So whatever I look like, I have to fit within that type of marginalized region. Whereas a producer, you can be whatever producer you want to be as long as you brand yourself doing that. And I branded myself as being a musician and a producer, so now I can do the melodic kind of things. I can do the left field, the out of here, the different type of records, and still get the respect from the community as a whole for my music. And that's what really draws me and makes me love this.
So, I mentioned Beyonce earlier, and I always give people's opinion on the hottest people out.
Right.
As far as the production, I am not a producer. I am not a musician. But I think that her album really embodied and embraced a lot of different aspects of production. It embodied a lot of different aspects of her as a musician. What is your opinion on her as an artist and her new album, her visual album, as a production?
Well, a lot of people that ask me, are you an artist or are you a producer? I don't really like to look at my production as production. I look at it as an art form. A lot of time when I produce, I always look at the visual. And when I listen to Beyonce's song, I don't listen for her voice. I mean, as an artist, and as any artist, it's irrelevant to me if the artistry is good, if it doesn't embody a full visual, annotation to the entire project. So what I look for in Beyonce, I look for the visual. How can I listen to her new song, Drunk in Love, and could I have painted that video without her making that video? And when I listen to her production and I listen to her lyrics and when I listen to her voice as a whole, the painting is there. I don't really look at her like an artist. She's a verbal Picasso to me. And that's how I look at her. And I really treasure the fact that the production is always great. As a producer, I do like to listen to things as a whole. Her mixes are great. Her concepts are great. The writing is great. And that whole package deal all the way around is how I feel that an artist can be great, how the producers can be great, and how they can all thrive together, and I love it.
Never looked at it that way ever. Guess that's why they just have me doing the interviews and not doing the production. So I noticed your brand.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
December 17, 2012, I actually founded my music production company, Uber Music Group LLC. We're actually a team of producers, engineers, songwriters, and we all come together collectively to make our music, and then, through publishing, management, and other avenues, we shop our product and we try and brand ourselves on being different. The logo may be in black and white because it prints easy, but other than that, it's far beyond the scale of anything that you've ever heard before, and that's why I try and go for. Similar to some of the artists who may not necessarily be the biggest commercially, but the biggest musically. They're the ones who I personally believe win the Grammys. It's a combination of the two, but that musicality is still there. And I'm a band guy. I was in band for 8 years, so I'm a big band person. I need it to be musical. If it's not musical, even if the money's right, some things are bigger than money to me. The money's important, but it's bigger than money to me. It's the music, which is why I fell in love, and I want to keep that love, keep that passion, and keep that ability to have the talented individuals I do within Uber Music Group and be able to exploit their musical abilities in a way that, like I said, takes them to where they want to be in their own dreams, in their own lives, and not just what I want for them. I want people to be what they want to be, and through Uber I let people do that.
Cut, print, do all that. That's good. So I know when we walked in, you were talking about this new system that you got, and you were telling us the difference. For me, it's challenging to sit down and learn all this. How did you learn the different equipment? Was it just something you found on YouTube, or was it something that you really just had a passion to learn more, the different things that it can do?
Well, I think a lot of people start off with the concept of they're selfish. A lot of people who started off not in teams are in teams because they realize they can't function without a team. So when I started off doing music 6th to about 10th grade, I was, on the side where I was the try and do it all kind of person. And then as I grew and I realized I didn't know how to do this, I sat down and I fell in love with the piano. I've been playing piano since 2, but I wanted to learn further than what I knew. So I took John Legend's Ordinary People and learned that, mastered that. And the more songs I learned, the more I could add to my collection of chords, my ability to play. That's how I learned the keys. Then I started doing the artistry side of things. I didn't have the finances to be able to pay someone for mixing, mastering, especially in 9th grade.
Right.
So you learn those things yourself. I learned how to make my own beats, what each individual knob on the boards mean, and how they could all co-function with each other to make the product sound as good as possible. Not perfect, but as good as possible while still being minusculely flawed. Because those flaws are what make us human.
Right.
And I believe in being perfectly imperfect.
Right.
And that's why I try and make my music perfectly imperfect. And that's how I learned how to use this equipment and be able to make it work for me instead of me working for it.
My biggest question doesn't have anything to do with anything,
Okay.
but do you feel like a Mac is better to use versus a Windows as far as doing music? Just a random question.
I personally believe that there are levels. There's steps that are taken. I firmly believe you should learn an automatic car before you try a manual.
Right.
You should learn how to crawl before you can walk, before you can run, before you can fly. And I believe that you should start on Windows. I started on Fruity Loops.
Okay.
I love Fruity Loops. I started on Fruity Loop 5. And they're probably on 19 by now. Or I don't know. But I think that starting on the more difficult or the easier things will allow you to appreciate it more. Now I use Logic Pro for my production, and although it is very technical and what you can do is far reaching, but had I have not had Fruity Loops first, I wouldn't have been able to appreciate Logic the way that I do. And I believe that you should start on the Fruity Loop side, the Windows side, and then once you get a good grasp of what it means to have the basic producer needs of production, then move on to the next. Because I've seen a lot of guys who started on Logic and they can't appreciate it, and they say Logic is difficult or it's really, really hard. Fruity Loops is a little easier and allows you to learn and catch that learning curve. And instead of having to play everything perfect through audio or having to punch in, it has little dots that you just click where you want the beat delay. And that's how you form your layouts for your records. Whereas on Logic, you're kind of thrown out there to the fishes, and however it comes out is how it comes out if you don't know what you're doing. And I firmly believe that like Mac is the end all be all. Not because of the brand or because of the ability. It's very, very unlimited, and I've been on Mac since they didn't even run on Intel, since they ran on PowerPC processors way back in 05, 06, and I love it. I've always been a Mac guy. Once I got off of Windows and I went Mac, I didn't go back.
Thank you guys for watching and getting my little geek moment. I was really excited to do this interview because I am a music freak. I love music, the melody part. I respect the artist, the rapping side, the singing side, but I like the behind the scenes stuff. So this was a really personal interview for me, and I was really excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you follow him and his group and everything that he's doing with his career. I'm Brittany Takia. This is our wonderful producer, JB. Have a good day. Bye, guys.